girl will take over Four Corners.
The Jones girl does not particularly appeal to me as a sex symbol.
She smells very feminine.
2 broken marriages in 12 years.
In Australia's Northern Territory,
The Queen is here with us to celebrate.
a new political force in the making. How safe are they?
In 1972, Four Corners appointed its first female host. This is how the media responded.
When I became the first woman to anchor Four Corners, second wave feminism was just getting underway in Australia, but that had not reached the ears of the gentlemen of the press. The appointment of a woman was so rare that it actually became newsworthy. And, well, they sent me on a one-day publicity trip to Melbourne, and that produced a full front page in the Melbourne Listener In publication. And this is terribly embarrassing, but I actually allowed myself to be photographed sitting on a high stool in a mini skirt, applying lipstick and answering very impertinent questions from a male reporter who was a lot smarter than I was. She smells very feminine, he wrote, ending with, a lot of lady is Four Corners' first lady. Now I think we can just have a good laugh at headlines like those because they're so outrageous, and to young women in the media today they're completely unbelievable. But they are part of our history.
Germaine Greer's book may be a bestseller overseas, but it's obviously not going to incite many Australian women to sexual revolution. If they haven't read the book and don't want to, then Germaine Greer is just another flamboyant, way-out superstar in the newspapers. She herself feels that's the way she's been treated by the Australian media, sensationalised personally and censored politically.
It's more that they're only interested in the kind of news that could discredit me. And they're much more interested in, my going to bed with someone, or my having VD, or my getting a divorce, than they are in the actual issues which I've come here to promote.
Apparently it was still acceptable to speak of a woman more or less as a body, or maybe a face and a body, that was more or less attractive to men.
For the duration of this working day, Delphina is wearing a pedometer for Four Corners. And by lunchtime, she's already covered a distance of 2 miles.
Nobody would dream of speaking of women in today's media in those terms, I hope. And I think that indicates quite a significant degree of progress in the portrayal of women in professional life today. In today's media landscape, there are roughly the same numbers of men and women, but the men greatly outnumber women in the most senior positions.
Hello and welcome to RN Breakfast. Fran Kelly with you.
Four Corners is an interesting exception in that all the senior roles are held by women. But I think there is still not a true representation in the media of the diversity of the population. I know there is still the gender pay gap, and that's true across the majority of industries in Australia. On the positive side, we do see more women today driving the news agenda. Mostly female journalists keeping the Brittany Higgins case in the headlines rather than just as a one-off event. To strive towards a just and humane society in Australia, I think it's vital to have serious investigative programs like Four Corners to shine a light into dark places, to hold up a mirror to ourselves to see how well we're going and where we can do better, and to call the powerful to account. So here's to the next 60 years of Four Corners.